Welcome to EUTV Sports Update. We'll be looking at the latest sports news from Evangel University and around the region. I'm Caden McBride.
We'll also look at college games across the nation and check out the latest happenings in professional sports. I'm Elijah Van Netta, and this is Sports Update on EUTV. Well, Caden, we have got a lot to look at today with March Madness going on in the college and professional world. We got some amazing basketball games and just some baseball and all that. So a lot of exciting stuff to go through today.
Well, even beyond that, in the Valor world, we got a whole variety to talk about today. We have softball, baseball, golf, track and field, and even some tennis. So, I mean, almost everything you could imagine going on right now.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I say we get right into it then, yeah?
A lot to look at.
All right. On Saturday, Valor Track and Field competed in the SBU Spring Invitational in Bolivar, Missouri. They're hoping to continue their strong start to the outdoor season. The Valor men competed well, specifically highlighted by Alex Richardson, who qualified for the Nationals in the discus event by hitting the NAIA B standard with a throw of 48.40 meters. The Valor men's 4x400 relay team also had a notable performance since they broke the Evangel school record with a time of 3 minutes, 20.72 seconds. The Valor women competed strong as well, highlighted by April Phillips, who qualified for the NAIA Nationals with a B standard and broke the school record in the triple jump with an 11.57 meters. The women's team also had a great performance from Delaney Weimer, who broke the school record in the 200-meter dash with a time of 25.11 seconds, and Skylar Adams, who broke the school record with the 5,000-meter run with a time of 17 minutes, 49.46 seconds. Also on Saturday, Evangel's men and women's tennis hosted the Kansas Wesleyan Coyotes with hopes of taking a win against a strong visiting team. The men's team fought hard and managed to take 2 wins in single play with great performances from Tiago Galopo and Ilya Martinovic. However, the Valor men were swept in doubles, allowing the Coyotes to win all 3 matches. Ultimately, the men's team fell 5-2 against Kansas Wesleyan. The Valor women's team fell in doubles play but managed wins in single matches with great performances from Rachel and Abigail Cheney. The Valor women's team fell to the Coyotes 3-4.
Evangel Valor men's golf competed in the OKW Spring Classic in Tulsa, Oklahoma at Hillcrest Country Club. With 11 teams competing, it got tense at times, but great performances from Valor athletes like Tayden Hopkins, who finished with an overall score of 229 to place 7th overall, allowed for a strong meet by the Valor and a 4th overall finish, beating out Valor's KCAC foes OKWU, Tabor, and Bethel. Valor Women's Golf also competed at the WW Spring Invite at Tanglewood Country Club in Fulton, Missouri. The ladies were cut short due to weather, but were still able to get all 18 holes in and pull off 3rd place overall, beating out NAIA schools like Ottawa, William Woods, and Central Methodist. Susanna Blackwell led the Valor, hitting a +1 at this invite, tying for 2nd overall. Evangel Valor Baseball finished up their 3-game series against St. Mary on Saturday at home. After dominating Friday, Valor wanted to keep that up and sweep St. Mary on Saturday. The scores were close in Game 1, but despite trailing early on in the game, Valor scored 10 and St. Mary 6, ultimately pulling through for the win. In Game 2, Valor offense and defense were on fire, scoring 12 points and only allowing for 1 point for St. Mary, and a 3-game sweep over St. Mary.
The Valor softball team took on Tabor College in a doubleheader on Saturday. The Valor hoped to sweep both games so they could push double-digit wins in conference play. In the first game, Evangel took an early 2-0 lead thanks to runs from Phoebe Gardner and Kenna Mayfield. The Blue Jays responded with runs in both the 4th and 6th inning, which tied the game. Tabor managed to push across 3 runs in the top of the 8th. The Valor put out effort, however, they struggled to produce any offense. Tabor won the first game 5-2. The Valor went into game 2 motivated with something to prove. Evangel produced a lot of offensive pressure in the 4th inning when they scored 3 runs thanks to Carlin Romanis, Megan Stone, and Naomi Perkins. The Tabor Blue Jays were thrown off with their rhythm and they could not manage to score throughout the game. The Valor claimed a 3-0 win in the 2nd game.
Well, Caden, we saw a lot of great performances in our Valor athletes this week. I personally am most impressed by our baseball this week. They haven't had an amazing season, but a 3-game sweep over St. Mary, that's what we like to see. So
absolutely.
And not only was it a 3-game sweep, but they weren't close games at all. Really, they were pretty out of the water. So it was nice to see that for
they kind of found their rhythm, it looks like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, good, good. I gotta say, I think I was very impressed with track and field. We've seen a lot of great performances throughout the last couple weeks, but this week especially, we had a lot of national qualifiers, but even some school records broken from both the men's and women's teams. So very excited to see how they keep doing throughout the rest of the season.
I would say that's been pretty consistent too throughout the season. Like we've been seeing constant school records and constant national qualifiers. So that's pretty cool to see that in our track and field athletes for sure.
Absolutely. Coming up next, I'll be here with women's golf player Catherine Rhodes to talk about the golf season.
And later, we'll take a look at the Final Four for March Madness. Stay tuned.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back. I'm here with Evangel women's golf player Catherine Rhodes. Catherine, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. So let's start off with, how did you start playing golf? What did that look like?
It's kind of random. I actually have no clue how, and so I know it had to be the Lord because freshman year of high school, I randomly told my best friend, like, hey, let's just play golf. I'd never played golf really in my life. I had a set of clubs, my dad and I would play a little, but I wasn't serious about it. So freshman year, we were just like, okay, let's do it. And then it turns out we love the culture of the team, and I'm pretty driven. So once I got into it, I was like, well, might as well commit. And so from then on, I just stuck with it and played all 4 years in high school.
Really? Just kind of kept playing with it?
Yeah.
When you jumped into it, what did you love most about it?
I think the thing that I love most about golf, even now still, is that you can determine how good you get. And so I can see when I spend time practicing, I see the practice pay off. And so for me, it's just more about putting in the time and sticking with it and watching as the results come from hard work.
Absolutely. So you played all 4 years in high school. How did you find yourself at Evangel?
So I'd always knew in high school, I went to public high school, and I'm so grateful for the experience, but I always knew for college, I wanted to go to a Christian university. And so Evangel is really close to my home, and so I thought might as well start there and just kind of see. So I reached out to Coach Jenkins, and he came and watched me play one time, and then we'd seen him around. We go to church with him actually.
No way.
And
Okay.
so it kind of worked out, and I was like, I think that's the best choice because it's so close to home for me, and I'll get to do what I love.
Yeah, absolutely. So getting into specifics, how has this season looked so far for you?
This season has been an adjustment. Golf is such a mental game, and so like first semester there was a lot of change in my life, and so it was kind of difficult for me to find a new practice routine and like figure out my rhythm with that. But I would say second semester has been really, really good.
Yeah,
so
getting your rhythm with everything,
Yes.
kind of working through
Yes.
it. Understandable.
Yeah.
What's been like some of your favorite moments of the season? Any highlights that you can specifically recall, or?
Yes, I would definitely say they've come from this semester. I've gotten really close with the girls on the team, and so it's been so fun, even like when I see them around campus, like to just chat and hang out. And when we travel, it's so much fun. Like that's some of my favorite times is when we like have long drives. We went to Texas for starting out this semester, and the drive down there and back was just so fun. And so I just love spending time with those girls. It's awesome.
That's awesome. You mentioned like college was kind of an adjustment for you. Did having that team help in any way, or?
It definitely did. That was part of the adjustment though. It was like, no one is really like themselves when you first meet them. So it's
Yeah.
like trying to figure out how I fit into their group and their rhythm. But definitely like it happened quick. They're awesome girls. And so we just got along real quick from the beginning.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You also mentioned earlier that like golf is a mental sport. How are some ways you like prepare mentally for a match, or?
I would say truly the biggest thing that I do is just spend time with the Lord and spend time in the Bible, because my mind has a tendency to go crazy. And if you're out there on the course and like there's other girls and there's other factors, there's so many things happening that if you're not grounded and rooted in who the Lord says you are, it's so easy to get distracted. And honestly, in golf, it's easy for me to be like, well, I am my score, or I am my performance from this week, which is not true. And so just like, I think the biggest thing for me is honestly reading the Bible and spending time with the Lord and understanding my identity comes from Him. But some other practical things that I do, I've recently started on my push cart, I have a little thing of Sudoku.
Sudoku, okay,
because
yeah.
it's so, like if you're waiting around, you don't want to be thinking like, well, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, you know, and so I just keep my mind occupied with something else completely.
Focus.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
so that's been one of my new recent things that I've noticed has really helped me.
That's
So,
awesome. That's awesome. You have like the spiritual aspect, but also like
Yes.
practical of
Yes.
actually doing that.
Yes.
So playing golf at Evangel, there's other universities that have like golf programs. What makes Evangel special in this aspect?
I honestly I really love our team. Even like the boys and the girls, the way that we practice together, we travel together, it's just like such a close feel between even the boys and girls teams. And I love that. And that's something that I even pointed out to one of my teammates a couple weeks ago, was like, hey, like some of these other schools that we practice with or play with, they're not like that. Like they're not like a cohesive group. So that's been really something special that I've noticed, and I'm so grateful to be a part of.
Sure. How's the competition looked overall? Like, is it pretty tough, or?
Yes, I would say, but it kind of varies depending on the tournament that we're at and who is there. But I would also say it's been really fun to see, because some of my friends on the team who are older, they have friends from other schools, so it's been really cool to see that. Just like how hopeful I can be of like, in a few years, like I'll know these girls and like we'll get along and have fun. So
Yeah.
it's like friendly competition.
Friendly competition, there you go.
So I like
Is
that.
there any like specific match you're looking forward to, like a certain university or school that you're excited to play?
I think we're gonna play with some girls that we played with in the fall coming up, and so I'm excited to see them again. And that'll be
Yeah.
fun.
Awesome, awesome. One last thing, any words of advice you could give to aspiring college golf players?
Yeah, I would say just stick with your routine, stick with what you know, and just remain rooted in what you've already come from and figure out how to apply that in this new season.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, Catherine. I hope everything goes great for you and the team the rest of the season. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the Final Four of March Madness. Stay tuned.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end and it at feedingamerica.org.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now anything but lonely.
We had this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet,
we discover
they're a little bit of a lot of things,
but they're all pure love.
As March Madness is coming to a close, the games are heating up as we move from the Elite Eight to the Final Four. We had an amazing Elite Eight lineup with UConn beating Illinois 77-52, Alabama beat Clemson 89-82, Purdue beat Tennessee 72-66, and NC State beat Duke 76-64. We have two #1 seeds remaining, UConn and Purdue, as well as a 4th seed, Alabama, and a rare 11th seed, NC State, in the Final Four. Basketball fans have a lot to look forward to in these next two games to see who will be our finalists for the men's division. If you were wondering about the women's division, here's Caden with more on that.
Thank you, Elijah. Taking a look into women's basketball, let's see how March Madness is going. The tournament is just capped off with the Sweet 16 on Saturday, and they held 4 contests on the schedule. The day started off with the 3rd seed, LSU Tigers, playing the 2nd seed, UCLA Bruins. This game was full of competition. However, the UCLA fell 69-78 against LSU. We also saw the #1 seed, Iowa State take on the 5th seed, Colorado, and Caitlin Clark gave a great performance and helped Iowa take Colorado 89-68. The 3rd game of the day, we nearly saw the first top seed go down when #1 seed Southern California played 5th seed Baylor. It was a nail-biter, however, Southern California managed a win 74-70 over Baylor. The final game of the day, 3rd seed UConn took on 7th seed Duke. Duke fell 45-53 against UConn.
Taking a look into the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunders played the New York Knicks on Sunday at Madison Square Garden in New York City, New York. This game would determine which of the teams went to the playoffs, so both teams were prepared for a battle. It was close the entire game with the Knicks in the lead by only 1 point until the very end of the game, but the Oklahoma City Thunders managed to pull off a win because of the turnaround mid-range jumper by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with only 1.8 seconds left in the game, putting the score at 113-112 and a win for OKC, who will be seen in the playoffs.
The MLB just opened up its season, so let's take a look into baseball. The St. Louis Cardinals played the LA Dodgers in a 4-game series. The series started on Thursday with the Dodgers' home opener, and LA showed up ready to play and managed to take an early lead and keep it throughout the entire game. The Cardinals managed a run in the 4th inning, however, ultimately fell 1-7 against the Dodgers. In the 2nd game, the Cardinals managed to find their rhythm, scoring 3 runs in the 8th inning. However, the Dodgers managed to claim another win, 6-3 over the Cardinals. The 3rd game of the series seemed a little more evenly matched. The Dodgers were first to score in the 5th inning with 2 runs. Then the Cardinals responded in the 7th inning with 5 runs. The Dodgers tried to fight back, generating 2 runs in the 9th. However, the Cardinals managed another run in the 10th, claiming a 6-5 win over LA. The final game of the series, the Cardinals managed a 4-0 lead over the Dodgers until the 6th inning when the Dodgers responded with 2 runs. The Dodgers managed another 3 runs in the 8th, ultimately winning the game 5-4 over the Cardinals, ending the 4-game series. Well, that was definitely an interesting 4 games for the Cardinals. I'm kind of hoping they get their feet better under them. The Dodgers had a great start, though, so that was a lot with baseball. But let's talk a little bit more about basketball here.
Yeah, so before we hop into March Madness, I wanted to take a look at the NBA game between the Knicks and the Thunder. 1.8 seconds left in the game. That is absolutely crazy. I mean, they made it to the playoffs. I'm sure the team is ecstatic on on that performance
Yeah.
out there. I mean, it was super, super close up until the very end, literally the last second of the game.
Impeccable timing.
Yeah,
With that. Crazy.
And, the fact that he made a mid-range jumper shot, that's crazy. I'm sure the crowd was going crazy. I'm sure the team was going crazy.
I'm sure he was going crazy too. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah. So that was just awesome to see out there. But let's take a look at March Madness. So some of our, what are you thinking for
the Final Four?
Final
Four. Yeah. I'm probably with a lot of people. UConn's just really proved themselves last year, and they have a great team this year. So I'm kind of thinking UConn's gonna take over Alabama. It is interesting though that Alabama is the first time they're in the Final Four ever. I mean, that's huge. Kind of crazy they're going up against UConn, but I don't know. Sure. I'm interested to see how that game goes. But what are you thinking?
I mean, like you said, the people are rooting for UConn. I think UConn's probably got the highest chance, but we've seen some underdogs come in with North Carolina State out there, 11th seed, making their way to the Final Four. So that's really cool to see out there. But yeah, I think UConn, they were champions last year. It's looking like they're, having a really killer season again this year, obviously, making it to the Final Four. So I'm thinking they're at least going to make it to the Final Two, if not win the entire thing. So we'll have to see what happens.
Absolutely. I mean, you never know. True. Like Purdue's got the 7'4" center.
Yeah.
Is it Zach Edey?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if something goes on them, they're going up against, that's going to be interesting to see all around for sure. But when we come back, we'll have the EUTV Player of the Week.
We'll also have your upcoming Evangel games this week. We'll be right back.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good stir. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah. Hey Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Elijah, we had so many different games going on this week, but a lot of great performances from our athletes. So overall, it's been a great week for Valor Sports.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was excited to see how our athletes performed out there. I'm excited to see how they perform in the future. But let's take a moment and look at one of our own athletes.
Yeah, it's time now for the EUTV Player of the Week.
This week's EUTV Player of the Week is Riley Mitchell. Riley is a senior on the baseball team from Costa Mesa, California. He's an infielder for the Valor. Riley was the conference leader in batting average over the weekend. In the sweep over St. Mary, he had a strong day at the plate, going 4 for 6 for the day with a batting average of .667 with 5 runs scored, and had 3 RBIs. Congratulations on all these amazing accomplishments, Riley. Well, we saw a great performance from Riley out there in the sweep over St. Mary this weekend. I'm sure that his great performance aided in that. Going 4 out of 6 on the plate, that's awesome to see. And yeah.
I mean, a .667 and 5 runs scored, definitely impressed with them overall.
Yeah, for sure. And, hope to see some great performances from him in the future.
Of course.
Let's take a moment to look at the upcoming games of the week.
Men and women's track and field will be competing in the David Sunram Gorilla Classic in Pittsburgh, Kansas on Saturday.
Valor men's baseball will be competing Friday and Saturday versus Sterling College, and a doubleheader on Saturday.
Men and women's tennis will be competing Thursday against Oklahoma Wesleyan at home, Saturday against McPherson College in McPherson, Kansas, and Sunday versus Friends University in Wichita, Kansas.
Softball will be competing Saturday, April 6th in a doubleheader versus Sterling College here at home.
Men and women's golf will be competing Monday and Tuesday in the Bethany College Classic at 9 a.m. in Newton, Kansas.
Go Valor.
Let's go Valor. A lot of exciting games coming up this week for sure. Excited to see, what our athletes could produce.
Yeah, and tennis has a busy week
this
upcoming week. So,
they definitely do.
Excited to see how all of our athletes perform, and excited to see how we get towards the end of the season. So
yeah, good luck to them this week.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's all the time we have for today for Sports Update. We invite you to check out euvalormedia.com for all the latest Evangel news and media. I'm Elijah Van Natta.
And I'm Caden McBride. Be sure to join us next week as we bring you the latest in sports news. For more information on Evangel Sports, go to evangelathletics.com. This has been Sports Update on EUTV.